In this Raptor programming exercise, we're going to design a program that uses nested if statements, and in the if statements we're going to have some and or operators for this program to make decisions. The decisions it's going to be making, we're going to use a 24-hour day clock for this program. That's a 0001 to 2400. It's also known as a military clock for this particular program. And depending on user input, we'll have the user input a time in military time, or the 24-hour clock. And if it's after 4 a.m. but before noon, it will say good morning. If it's afternoon but before 6 p.m., it will say good afternoon. If it's after 6 p.m. but before 11 p.m., it will say good evening. And if it's after 11 p.m. and before 4 a.m., it will say good night. We will test the program. We have one variable here, and that's time. That's what we need from the user. We need to know what time it is. So let's get started. If you need WordPress hosting, I provide WordPress hosting for as low as $5 a month. I actually provide quite a bit more than that. You can see WordPress, Joomla, Drupal, Moodle, Mambo, PrestaShop, PHP, BB. These have an installer to install them for you. There's no special knowledge needed. I provide hosting accounts as low as $5 a month. I also provide virtual private servers and dedicated servers. And if you want a $5 account, if that's what you're looking for, you just simply click on the shared plans and you'd see it right there, the starter. Okay, the first thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and assign the variable time. Now in Raptor, we could actually assign it during the input statement, but because most programming languages such as C++ and C#, Java require you to declare your variables, and no, Raptor doesn't require it, we are going to do it as if it were in another programming language. So we're going to take the assignment symbol here, and we're going to save this as nested if statements. And we're going to set time, and initially we're going to set time to 0, okay, because we don't know what time the user is going to input. Whatever we initially set it to gets overwrote when the user inputs something. So the next thing we want to do is we want to output a statement asking the user to enter the time. We'll start off with the quotation marks, and we're using the output symbol, by the way. Alright, and we're going to ask the user to input. Now the reason why we did an output and an input and basically asking the same thing is because we want a screen. In this case, this is going to be the white. I'll show you in a minute, but we want something to pop up before the user actually has a chance to enter something. We want something to pop up instructing the user. Raptor's going to kind of do it twice. Most other programming language, you want to, for example, C#, you would do console.write line asking the user to input the time of day, and then you would do a your variable time equal console dot read line, and whatever user input is going to be that time of day. So that's why we're doing it this way. Hope that makes sense. Alright, and again we have that time variable, and you'll notice it showed up down here as an option that we have. So that's our only variable we have in this program. So far, if we run this, here's what we got. And enter the time of day. We're just going to put in any value for right now. And to show you, I'm going to bring this in a little bit. Let's clear this out so you can see again why I'm doing the output first. You'll notice it says please enter the time of day, military time. So that's like your screen prompt. This is acting as your screen prompt, and this is acting as your input field, and then we'll get any value. So now we're not actually calculating anything. So what we want to do is we want to determine what time of day it is, and we want to use the appropriate response, and this is going to be done with if statements. So we need to make a decision. We're going to use the selection statement here. And if we go back to our original question, we'll notice we want it to say good morning if it's after 4 a.m. and before noon. So in our selection here, we'll double click on the diamond symbol. And we're not, in other programming languages, you put the words if first, but you can't do that in Raptor. So I'm just going to leave the if out, but this is an if statement. Just remember the if will go first in other languages. So the question was if it is after 4 a.m. or if it is greater than 4 a.m. and before noon. If it's less than noon, we want it to say good morning. So we'll say if it's greater than, if time, the variable time is greater than 0400, and here's our AND operator, and whoop, that's not the right one. And again, time is less than noon, which is 1200 in military time. We want it to do something. We want it to output good morning. And so we're using our output. We're going to put good morning. That's on the yes side. But if it's not that time in that time frame, we want it to make another decision. We want it to do something else on the no side, which is we're going to see if it's the next time frame. That next time frame was good afternoon. If it's afternoon but before 6. So actually here, because we did less than noon, we're going to make this if it is noon but before 6. So we're going to take that out. So if it's noon but before 6. So we're going to click right here, and again, our if statement. So if time is greater than or equal to noon, and time is less than, what was it, 4 o'clock? No, 6 o'clock. And time is less than 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock is what? 1800 military time. Then we're going to want it to say good afternoon, right? So we're going to put an output on the yes sides. And we'll say good afternoon. What if it's not in the morning? What if it's not afternoon? Well, we want it to make another decision. So we're going to nest another if state, grab our selection, stick it on the no side. So if it's not one of those two times, we want it to check and see if it's going to be in the evening time. So again, if time is greater than, what was our frames again here? Let's move that over like that. So if time is, again, is going to be, we're going to get rid of after, we're going to make it greater than or equal to 6. If time is greater than or equal to 1800, and time is less than 2300, would be the military time for 11 p.m. 2300. Whoops, put my less than sign in there. We want it to do something. What we're going to want? We're going to want it to say good evening. So on the yes side, we'll output good evening. But what if it's not morning, and it's not afternoon, and it's not evening? What do we want to do? We want it to make another decision to see if possibly it's time to say good night. So what was our time frame for good night? So good night would be, let's get rid of this. It is greater than or equal to 2300. And And for this last part, I want you to see how this works. I got it out all the way here on this notepad. We need to check the time between 11 and 4 a.m. and have it say good night if it's during that time. And as we've been doing some and statements if the time's before and time's less than. However, in military time, 11 o'clock is 2300 and 4 a.m. is 0400. So you can't have and time is greater than or equal to 2300 and time is less than 400, because mathematically those numbers just don't make sense. So what we have here is we're going to have two and statements right here and right here. Right here, right here, and we're going to have an or operator right in the middle. So here we're going to have this time is greater than or equal to 11 o'clock, 2300, and time is less than or equal to 2400, which is midnight in military time, or time is greater than or equal to 0001, which is 1 minute after midnight, and time is less than 4 a.m. Now, if you remember or statements, if either side of the or statement is true, then the whole thing is considered true. But on and, if either side of it is not true, then the whole thing is considered not true. So it's going to check this side first, and if this side is not true, it still can jump to the other side and see if this side is true. If this side is true, to go ahead and execute. So let's go ahead and put that in here and see how that works. We wanted to do something. We'll go output good night. Alright. Now, what if the user enters in something other than military time, something that fits in the military time scale, forgets to put in the time? We want it to output something, so we're going to put output. And we're not going to loop this. This is, looping is going to be for a later video, but we're just going to end it with this. Please use the 24-hour clock to enter the time. Example, 1500, same as 3 p.m. and 0300, same as 3 a.m. Period. There we go. Alright, so the first thing I want to test is, before we go checking through all of our times, we're going to step through this. I want to make sure I have it set where if he enters in anything else other than a military time. So we're going to test this out. We're going to step through it. And here, you'll notice here, we'll keep that up there. Please enter the time of day, military time. Let's say he thinks it's 2,500 hours. We'll step through. See it, check that, it wasn't that, check that, it wasn't that, check this. It's not the evening, and it's not a good night either. So it's going to go to our default. And let's see what it output here. Please use the 24-hour clock to enter the time. Example, 1500 is the same as 3 p.m. and 0300 is the same as 3 a.m. Alright, so let's clear this and we'll go ahead and end that. Alright, let's check for something for good morning. So good morning is between 4 and noon. Okay, so let's check. We'll go put 5 a.m. That's 0500. And if you notice here, it checked and it was true, and it says good morning. So let's check something for the good afternoon, which is between noon and 6 p.m. So let's put let me see, let's put 1600. That'd be 4 o'clock. 1600. And you notice it checked that, it wasn't it. So now it's over here where it should execute, and it's down here. It's going to execute that. and it says good afternoon. And we'll end that. Now we want to check for good evening. And the time in the evenings after 6, so let's say it's 1800, which, I mean, excuse me, 2000, it's 8 p.m. And it should come down here and check for good evening. And there it is. And you'll notice it says good evening. And we'll enter that. And let's say, we'll put 1 a.m. 0100. 1 a.m. for a good night. And we'll keep stepping. And you notice it come down here. And it told us good night. That is all there is to nested if statements. Now you can visit www.skeeterz71.com for more Raptor programming tutorials, other programming tutorials, and a lot of Adobe, Photoshop, Dreamweaver, and Illustrator tutorials as well as WordPress tutorials. They're all free. Have a good day.